All right, now onto the front end. I'm gonna probably fast forward through most of this video as far as kind of what's done, but I'll kind of walk you through it here. So took the wheel off, of course. I'll end up throwing a jack underneath, pump it up a little bit, take the nut off the up shock, take that off, lower shock, take that bolt out, and then at that point, all stuff for the steerage linking, I'll actually leave. I'll end up just probably loosening these up, I would imagine. I would have to. Then the castle nut, I'll probably do the upper ball joint, just because I feel like that's going to be a little more forgiving than the lower as far as getting that to break loose. But so yeah, just take that cotter out, castle nut off, whack on it with a hammer, and from there I'll lower it, take this coil out, lowered coil like the rear, so shouldn't be too bad. But yeah, we'll dive into it here. Alright, so I got the castle nut off, got a jack underneath, got the shock out, loosened up some other bolts that we had, and so now all we gotta do is just slowly lower the jack. It's gonna be under some pressure, so it doesn't blow up like a fucking grenade. Okay, so should be loose enough. Yep, jack's free. So I'll kick that out of the way. And then all we gotta do is kind of get in here. Yep, so we're somewhat free now. Oh, yeah. Boom, just like that. Coils out. It's pretty neat. How neat is that? Alright. So now from here, what we'll dive into, I'll try to get a better camera angle, but we're gonna have to trim this upper coil pouch here. So that'll be next on the agenda. So now that we got the shock, coil out, all that, we gotta trim this cup here. So basically, I'll start probably right here. I'll trim all the way out to this lip, go all the way over here, and probably kind of tie it in here. We'll see how that looks. I might have to kind of trim in here, possibly here. But first and foremost, we'll just trim this whole front lip off. And yeah, I'll just do like a time lapse of that. I'll try to get a good angle here, so stay tuned. Kind of slacking. I filmed what happened with the cutting of the upper cups, and I don't know what happened. I didn't save it or deleted it or what, but it's not in my camera roll anymore. So, and I already put the wheels, tires back on. So if you guys really want to see it, I can jack it up and kind of show you how they're cut. But I showed you in the video prior to this one, or the clip prior to this one, where I was going to cut, and that's exactly where I cut. And the bag's cleared good. But this is where I'm at. Got air ride. Got everything installed. It is working. Only issue I have was with this bcfab wiring kit. Wired it up just like they told me, positive, positive, negative, negative. Run your relays in, and shit did not work at all. Relays didn't click, nothing happened. There's supposed to be an internal pressure switch on this airlift performance valve manifold, and none of that shit was working. So I ended up jumping the relay with just a jumper wire. Did both relays because there's two relays in the system. Ended up jumping both of them. Then everything worked fine, but the compressors wouldn't shut off. It would just run and run and run up past 200 psi, and it was set up to shut off at 150. So I did a little brainstorming, and I said, fuck the wiring kit that came with it. And I ended up just wiring my own compressors, because with a little heavier duty wire, I used 8-gauge wire for powers, grounds, put them on a 30 amp fuse up at the battery, both of them, so they're both on their individual wiring harness. And then I ended up using a 160 to 200 psi pressure switch. Wired those up just like this. So we got a keyed ignition source here. Run that into your pressure switch. From there, goes to your 85 on your relay, and vice versa for the other relay. You get power coming right off your battery into your 87 on both relays. 30 goes out to each compressor, and then chassis ground on those, on the 86. Grounded both of those out. And it's all hidden underneath the wood back there. But yeah, that's what I had to do to make this system work. Everything's all fine and dandy as far as the controller and how everything functions. I just don't have control now of the internal pressure switch that was on it. So I can't control how much air I have. So, but it's with the pressure switch that's on it, kicks on at 160, and it goes a little past 200, about 207, it kicks off. I am running 2 5-gallons. There's another one behind there. Pressure switches on that one. Kind of a mess right there within the wood how I did it, but used little grommets, ran them right through the trunk floor. I'm gonna cover all that up, clean it up with probably some copper, and then the water trap, which runs right in the exhaust. I have that just running out right above the rear axle. Yeah, it's cool. It's fun. I've drove it a couple times now. Just kind of give it the whole shakedown run. But I'll probably do a little video tomorrow about the motions of the car and all that. But yeah, this is the controller. Keys are in the trunk, but we'll dive in on another video as far as the controllers and going up and down and round and round, doing all that cool stuff. But yeah, it was pretty simple. Once I just figured out, saying fuck the wiring harness it came with. I mean, I should say fuck the wiring harness it came with. I just didn't use the whole part of the wiring harness that was supposed to control the compressors, because none of that worked. So, and another thing I did have to do for their relays, so the relays that came in the system, which let me grab that. Yeah, the relays that came in the system. So this is a schematic of the airlift wiring harness, the 3P. Only shows one relay. It's actually two. And kind of what I was going through from these directions, you're supposed to be able to ground out this relay by, follow it up, boom, 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 battery. That's the only ground for this whole system. I have it grounded to the battery, but yet the relay, what I discovered, it wasn't being grounded at all. So being it wasn't being grounded, once the keyed ignition source came to it, it wasn't flipping the relay, the switch within the relay. So it was never powering this whole part of the harness. So I ended up having to do just a little jumper wire off of the ground. And so just use a little jumper right off the ground, grounded it right to the chassis, right before the relay. So that way, and then it worked fine. everything was groovy as far as the controller and all that. Yeah, so that's what I did. It's kind of a shit show, but if you were to have those issues, I kind of went all over as far as trying to figure this out. So you're welcome to get a hold of me if something like this is happening with your system. I can kind of walk you through what I did, and everything works fine and dandy now. So yeah, like I said, I'll get a video tomorrow of the car, aired out, aired up, Cali leaning, all that cool stuff. But yeah, that's it for tonight. Thanks, guys.